We're here. Good morning.
Yeah, Mel, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How about you?
A little slow this morning, so
I hear that even in your tone, you're very low.
I gotta give him a little. I'll get it together. But
You need a jumper, jump start.
when you wake up in the morning, if you don't wake up on the right side of the bed, you end up on the wrong. Feel it. That's just how it works. And so I wake up on the wrong side of the bed, but I'm trying to get it right. Current event. Yeah, man. Here we go again. Junkanoo. Junkanoo. We gotta stop. Hey, we gotta stop. This Junkanoo food has gotta stop. Mel, let's take a minute and go down memory lane of Junkanoo. The JNPC or whatever it is, JNPC, whatever they name, whoever they name. I mean to mix it up. The Junkanoo Committee at the parade, right? It is just disaster. I said a couple of weeks ago, what I said a couple of weeks ago, Mel, you remember? I think all of them should be fired. Remember that?
Yeah,
Here we go again. Hey, we gotta stop. We gotta stop this. Junkanoo foolishness has to stop. Chaos. Let me put it in place for everybody. You know I don't cut it. I come straight at it. Let's take it at first. When the last time we been to Junkanoo, Mel?
2 Christmases ago.
Okay. And what happened?
I decided not to go again because
There you
it
go.
was
Me and you
just
never planned this, right? I
crazy.
asked you a question. Okay. That's my point. The Junkanoo Committee, all their interest in it was striking. Believe this is their own. They believe this Junkanoo is theirs. But guess what? Junkanoo is getting voice. Junkanoo is becoming the laugh of this. So when they say they strike in and this and that and this and listen, Junkanoo needs a good fixing. Not the costumes, not the music, but it needs a big fixing. Let me tell you what irritates me about Junkanoo and half of the Bahamian. When I hear them talk, this JNCP guys talk and talk about how they're improving. Improving what? You see how long it takes for one group to come out?
That's
People are
the
people are paid their money to sit there for hours. Junkanoo is horrible. And let me tell you how horrible it is. It is so horrible. If you go down the list, let me tell you what's horrible. First of all the police walking down the middle of the street, we come to watch them. You know
it
where they
is
should be?
great.
You know where they should be? On the outside, walking down, where your sons and daughter is being sexually harassed, being feel up every day at Junkanoo. Every time Junkanoo, the tourists are being scared of the rich. Tourists are being what I call the word harass. We see it. But all the police walking down Saturday base and they walking in droves. You see 15, 20 of them walking, going down. In the middle of the Bay Street, there's no crime. Where's the people control on the bleachers? Then turn around, watch how bad it is. This Junkanoo is so bad. Say what you want to say.
5 cents.
Now,
Five
and
cents.
so let me explain to you. I'm going back to my 5 cents. Let me explain. Junkanoo is becoming boring. The same music, same. Go there, sit down for hours, being entertained by comedians because no Junkanoo is passing. And then they tell you, oh, one groupie ain't coming because something at the gate and this and that. Foolishness. Now, let me close on this. The JMPCP, all y'all need to be fired. Everyone. And Junkanoo needs to sit down and work his way back to let's have some fun on Bay Street. Let's enjoy our music. Let people, when my last thing on this, when we used to come going back from Junkanoo and Junkanoo, like Junkanoo is over like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And when we go walking back home, all you see people walking, sleeping, people on the side of the road, and people drunk stumbling down the hill coming. So that was Junkanoo. When you go there, you go to have fun. People now come and sucking their teeth. Everybody talking about this one lie, this one rob, this one ain't win. It's horrible.
So
And I
basically, he's saying, bring the fun back. Bring the
yes,
fun
bring the
back.
fun back. And I say the Junkanoo committee, all of them, anytime you say these words, we strike or we hold in Junkanoo, there will be no Junk. Who you all is? So what? That's my 5 cents. Fire everyone. And I don't blame the government. I would fire Mario too, all of them. Put some new faces because y'all can't get it right. Get somebody to get it right. That's my 5 cents.
Okay, Tony, and we get right into our health segment, completing our New Start formula. I promised that I would provide a final wrap up on the final element, which is trust in God. And I promised that we would just take a little deeper look at what it means to trust God. Now, trusting for many of us is grounded in our social experience. And when we were growing up, we would hear our parents talk about the goodness of God, talk about their journey through life and how where they arrived was because of God's faithfulness. Today, it seems very abstract when we say trust God, because oftentimes much of what we do as habits, as daily habits, is sort of like what we pick up from the persons that surround us, the models. And that was why I went to talk about what our parents and grandparents used to do and talk about. Trusting in God requires a deep, deep setting aside of one's self from the noise, the voices of the millions of people that surround us. And today, it's trillions of people because of the way the communication network has spiraled in the last 25 years or so. The World Wide Web, the internet, the social media, the mainstream media, everyone is pointing us away from the source of our existence, source of our strength. Even the church. I'm not getting too much into that. That's Tony's forte. But when we look at who we are and whose we are, we must come to realize that we were created by an all knowing, never failing, all powerful God. And the only way that we can learn to trust Him is by standing still, listening to him because he does speak to each of us. If we truly want to know what it means to trust him, then we must test him. The psalmist David says, "Oh, taste and see." You got to taste him, you have to watch him, and it's only then that you will come to realize that you can truly trust him. And that brings us to the end of our new start formula. So, moving forward, we're going to get into the very small, intricate details about those 8 elements: the nutrition, the exercise, the water, the sunlight, okay, the temperance, the air, the rest, and the trust. So it's 8. And over the remainder time that Tony and I come before you from week to week, I will be taking a little small smidget from each of those 8 formulas, 8 components of the formula, for helping you to establish balance, to experience a better health experience and a holistic sense of well-being. Thank you, Tony, and we get right into our topic for
Well,
today.
you don't want me get into my topic because now you started cattle of fish just now. You open a whole can of worm. I was supposed to talk to finish my love thing, but I don't want to talk about love no more. I want to talk about what you talk about just now.
Yeah?
Because you go on a whole sermon, and I want to finish the sermon because the sermon is what you said that trust
Mm-hmm.
and trust God. That's what you say.
Yep.
Okay.
And some people may not see that. How does that relate to being healthy and well?
Uh-huh. But
It is everything.
but the problem with that is this. You know why this is my belief. You know why we're struggling with Christianity, and you know why we're struggling and looking at Christians and pastors and the church. You know why
Hmm.
we're struggling with that. Majority
Why?
of people are pulling away from the church because trust, that same very word, they they're not trusting even God no more because seems like the church has failed them, so they mad and they pull away from everything. And that is the problem. I'm glad you used the word trust because let me explain to you something. If I can't eat and I go to a church and I go to my pastor and I say, I need some food, and the pastor say, Bolly, I can't help you. You lose trust right there in the pastor because you feel that the pastor should go in his pocket. That's how you feel. You feel like he should go in your pocket and give you $20 right away because
Mm.
the necessary of how you hurting, you feel like he should the guy you should come to your need. And which is true, you feel like the pastor should not never
Turn you away.
turn you away because he should have people around he can call to give you $20. I used to use $20 to
Hmm.
help you. He should have his assistant pastor, somebody he can call and say, man, or somebody give her this and then I'll get back to you. But when he
Right.
make that when he make that phone call, the people on that line he called don't even trust him because he called me before he never paid. So you see how the trust. So that's how the trust has been broken. And so let me tell you now why people move from the pastor now don't trust God. See, this is the big issue because they were told you ask God for it and ain't nothing God can do. It happened. Bang. That's what people was told. That's what you preach.
And that is the truth.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So now what's the truth? That is the truth. So now I sick. Bad. Watch now. I go to the hospital. All my life I trust God. All my life I pray and worship God. So here's the trust broken. I sick, ain't get well for years. Think about it. I come out the hospital struggling. Most people don't trust God no more because they feel like God didn't. Wait. I understand. You feel like God didn't show up. Go ahead.
Wow. But we often miss the signals of when
Mhm.
God shows up.
Mhm.
Okay, I just covered that eight.
That's exactly right. That's what. Just use the
Okay,
one who come there.
the 8-step formula. But
Mhm.
when we face troubles, when we face trials and
Mhm.
tribulation,
Mhm.
I have a personal belief that in order to find a solution, you have to get to the source of the problem.
Mhm.
In our society, doctors have knowledge. I would say their knowledge is limited. People would disagree, but the knowledge of medical science is limited.
Mhm.
The knowledge of God, the power of God is unlimited.
Yeah.
Now, in our society, again, what people say, oh, God put the doctors there. Yes, He put the doctors there, but He also put you there, a steward of this body that He has given you. Before you get to the doctor, you got to start with you.
Mhm. Mhm.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay?
Mhm.
Trust in God. We trust God and we turn to God. Like how some people turn to their relatives when they're in trouble as a money, a purse, but as long as things are going well, you don't have no need for God.
Mhm.
And that is why when you do go to Him, you don't have no faith. You don't have, so therefore, you're not sure that you could trust Him. You see what He did for other people, but even our beliefs about what He can do for us, because again, what is the teaching? Oh, you live this way, so your sickness is the consequence of your lifestyle, and the list goes on. So
Mhm.
there is a myriad of confusing beliefs about God, about our health, about this world, about our purpose. It's just confusion everywhere. So people, that's why I say people need to stop, step back, listen,
It's,
because God does speak to every individual.
mhm. But see,
For me,
mhm.
for me, when somebody comes to me or I go to someone, the only thing I could get from that person is confirmation, because my first source of information, my first guide, my first point of
Mhm.
reference is always directly to God.
Yeah. So I don't want to lose my trend because I have
Mhm,
a little trend here, and so I don't want people get me wrong. So let
mhm.
me clarify. Go back there to clarify because I said that people don't trust God. So I don't want people beat me up and talk foolishness. So yes, I say people lose trust in God because
Mhm.
they they, they ask and ask and ask and no answer. And
But
so
you know why?
yeah, but there's a reason. Go ahead, you could answer. But they keep asking. Go
Out
ahead.
of desperation. And a
Right.
lot of times,
Yeah.
people ask, people pray, but they don't listen.
Listen. Exactly. And so this is the road I'm going. So this is why
So
people and they
in
get
desperation, right?
they do the
We're,
weirdest thing.
we're frantic, we're confused, and we're panicking. Okay. Sometimes the change come, but because we are so distressed and so confused, we don't even notice the change.
Yes.
And in our panic, in our distress, in our worry, we bring on new situations. Many illnesses, many diseases have similar manifestation signs and symptoms. So when you think that it is the same problem, that problem is long gone, but you already bring on another one through
Yeah.
your worry and your stress.
Yeah. So when you ask God, when you pray and you ask God to heal your heart, because your heart was the problem. But guess what happens? Your heart, you then create through stress and level, create your kidney failing. So now you asking God, but your heart, but God heal your heart, but your heart ain't the problem. Now you got kidney failure. So it's how you ask and what you ask for. This is the key. So so most times you want God act in your time. God don't act in his time. And guess what? This is then you could take where you run from this. But there's your time living on earth. And your time like expired probably. So when you ask God to save you, your time expired. Some people don't believe in it. How you could ask God, who's the author, who write the book, who he's the author. He determines if you deserve it. He determines he determines everything. This would be this is what the Bible says. I don't need to follow what the Bible says. So if you ask God to save you, God might say, my son, I don't see it make any sense. It sounds weird,
It is weird.
right?
The
But see,
thing about it is,
but hold on before you finish. A trend. I don't every time.
go ahead.
So, so if you ask God and He decided that not this time, He might see something down the road where it's so much trouble, so much pain. He might He might save in your soul because He could see far in you. And so we got these sycophants. I call these um, crazy religion people. When I say crazy, these ones who take Christianity far out. You know, when I say crazy, 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 they don't stop going to church. They don't stop going to different church. They don't. They're hearing from everybody. They're hearing from this pastor, that pastor. They everywhere they go, they get confused. There's more confusion. I call them sycophants. They're all about looking. What you looking for? Something new? The Bible say, "It don't take off, don't distract." So, what you looking for? I cannot deal with this pastor no longer. And they go to another church. Then they break up, they go to another church. Then you got some, they Baptist, Anglican, Catholic. Like what is your problem? What are you looking for? This is why God don't heal some people. They're all over the place. They're not settled. They don't know where they look. They know they love the Lord with all their might. And they so confused.
Hmm.
You could chime in.
Yeah, you just left me confused. But
Yeah.
listen,
They got
I
wait. They got the heel cover, and then they got these funny looking clothes on, and these are the ones I talking about, and they call themselves crazy for God. No, you crazy. You caught something in church. One of the church you be in, you caught a spirit, and it never leaves you. And that's what's wrong. And that is the day. They're the very ones who causes a lot of people break off running from
you
this.
know, you know,
Mhm.
I think that
You thinking? Go on.
the problem with the world is that we have this crazy notion that we all are supposed to look alike, smell alike, think alike, do everything like copy and paste. But each of us, even in our spiritual, our religious journey, we are on an individual, personalized journey. And to trust God means that we have to look on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
We have to know ourselves. We have to know what it is that we desire, what God desires of us as individuals. People refer to the Bible very often. I love scriptural texts because in them you find a lot of examples, you find a lot of instructions. You also find things that are historical, okay? But what I think that the Bible really is all about, it is simply a record of the faithfulness of God towards humanity. And if we were to use the examples that are provided in our personal life, in dealing with ourselves, in dealing with others, in dealing with our families, we cannot go wrong. But when people take that book and try to treat it as if it is some kind of a legal reference for how to and how not to, every one of us, there is something in it for each of us. And you got to admit, no two persons interpret that book identical. When there is a common understanding, that is a manifestation that God is somehow speaking to us in that particular point of our journey. Someone else may have a different interpretation. Your interpretation now and their interpretation is different. Who's to say whose interpretation is right and whose interpretation is wrong? And that's where all the conflict surrounding the Bible, surrounding religion, surrounding human interaction takes place.
Mm-hmm.
We have to stop judging each other and trust God because His Spirit resides in each of us. And that should be our point. Jesus Himself, when He was leaving, said, the Holy Spirit will guide you into all truth. So, truth and trust go hand in hand. So, you must listen to that still small voice that resides within you. And each of us have it. It's just that, like I said earlier, it's crowded out by all the noises that surround us in our environment on a daily basis.
So I gotta say something to you. The Bible is written by inspired men, right?
Inspired, yes. And what does
Inspired.
inspiration mean?
And they was inspired in the 18th centuries, right?
Long before
Long
then,
before that, right? Okay, they was inspired when the 50, whatever the century was, right?
they were inspired,
Okay.
and God is still inspiring us today.
Okay. So let me
That's
ask you.
where,
So I'm asking you a
Mhm.
question. I'm asking you a
Go
question.
ahead, go ahead.
So they was inspired for that time, right?
And this time, and
Okay.
the times to come.
Okay.
But the question is,
But go ask the question. I know you going the same road I
the
going.
question is,
Mm-hmm.
does it apply in the same way
Okay.
to
Yeah,
everyone?
exactly. So what happened to
That's where
what happened to the,
interpretation comes in.
yeah, but what happened to the
And
inspired
it
man
is
of this day?
that
Hold on, wait. What happened to the inspired man of this day?
their voices are hushed. Their
It was
voices are
it
hushed.
was just a
Nobody wants to hear from them.
okay.
But does it mean that they're not inspired?
Yeah. So why?
Doesn't mean that you're not inspired. A
So
young man walks up to you and asks you a question and you answer it. Where does your answer come from?
minds for
Yeah.
me, and then
Where
God.
does your answer come from?
For
Huh?
me, what my knowledge that I know, and then God.
Oh, your knowledge first and then God.
Yeah, that's where my answer come from. Because I got to go as far as my knowledge could go. A lot of people knowledge go so far. A lot of people you
And,
got knowledge.
and Tony, that is the root of all mankind.
Is what you
We
taught
can
was taught.
only go as far as
As
our knowledge, our
exactly,
experience takes
exactly.
us. But when we seek guidance from God, it takes us beyond our knowledge. It takes us beyond our experience.
Mhm. But
But guess what?
mhm,
What God gives to you isn't necessarily for every other human being on the face of this earth. It is for people who share like experiences.
mhm. I
And
have
that's where trust comes in, Not everyone comes to us because they don't trust us. We have the natural inclination to go and lean and move towards the people, the organizations, the entities that we trust. If we
see,
don't trust someone, we don't go in their direction for advice. We
but
go where we trust.
you know what? One of the problems I think we talking about the struggle of the church and struggle. We ain't talking. We ain't knocking nobody. We just talking about the struggles as it goes day to day operations, right? And you know what I think? I think the church, which is the people, we need to have different discussions. We need to have different discussions. We need to have more like, you know how back in the day you used to have what they call rap session,
Mm-hmm.
where the fellas who smoke the dope and they get high and they start rapping and they say they brain opening because they smarter because they smoke this dope. Back in the day, that's what they used to do, right? They believe they smarter now because the dope bring this new, they're bold enough. The dope make them bold now, so they
And
can,
they call that the weed
yeah, the
is the
wisdom.
wisdom.
So
Yeah.
the church need to do more and stop preparing for Sunday and do more of outside.
Repeat that.
The church need to stop preparing for Sunday because like Sunday, prepare for this big show on Sunday. All this
Mm-hmm.
prettiness on Sunday to make the church pretty and all this and good sermon and everybody walk out. Woo, pastor say, But the church need to work more on sessions in the ghetto or out
So in
there.
essence,
Mm.
in
See,
essence, I would call that preparing more love potions,
yeah, well, you
meaning
could call it whatever
that
you want,
you're
but
bringing the people together
yeah, and
for
and and I think not street meeting, if you could call it street meeting, but not where you hit the street and you one person
you
screaming.
use the word rap sessions. I
Yeah,
think that's an excellent
and and
terminology.
and they need to sit down and listen and then guide
But not
because
only listen and guide,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
They also need to listen and learn
mhm.
because this is another problem that we have. We think that because you have a degree or because
Ah,
you study theology
that's my
or
next one.
because you are a doctor or a lawyer, that your knowledge is superior to the man on the street.
Mhm.
But knowledge is power, and learned knowledge, the difference between somebody who has a certificate in their hand that says, I went through a course of study,
But that's
and
what the church is
somebody
doing.
who doesn't, is the price you paid for it.
But that's the
That's the
church.
only difference.
But that's why the church is in error. This is what I talk about. This is why the church
That's
is
why
in
the
error.
world is in error.
Right?
That's why the world is in
Because
error.
why you think in your leadership of your church that you need everybody with a doctorate degree, or you need everybody reverend? That's only chaos because everybody trying to get your seat. Because everybody think that me and you have the same degree, me and you, me and you been to the same theology school. So
But me and you don't have the same intellectual ability.
but
Me and you don't have the same passion for others
yes,
and compassion towards
and that
others.
is, and I think that is where see, because every time we got the person who's rich and he come to the church, we put him in front of the pulpit, in front of the pew, in the front pew, and give him and announce him. Oh, we got so and so visiting us today, and then so people see you making him, you idol him, you got him. You
Uh,
what do you what
yeah,
that all about?
elevating,
Yeah.
worshiping.
So
But you
next
know,
next we will
and
see him
and
gone.
this is where we need to get back to, back to the old landmark, the people say, where at the foot of the cross, all men, women, children are equal. Now, back in the day, children didn't have a voice, women didn't have a voice.
Mhm.
But today, if we really believe that all men are equal, then we must learn to respect.
Mm.
That love potion is about inclusion, bringing everyone into the room and showing unconditional love, respect, regard.
And you find out people, the church has so many turmoil, backbiting, fighting, yeah, backbiting, fighting, this and that. And so the church struggling and the pastor struggling trying to keep control of all the things going on. He can't really serve God. He can't go back in his Saturday all day laying down. Like my pastor used to go, I used to meet my pastor in the church by himself, just praying by himself. He can't do that no more because he's trying to fight all these devils around him. He's trying to fight all of these church members who call themselves Christians who won't tell him he's going to take over the church. And so it all was in the church. And so that's why it's good to come out and have this the rap session. So you come out. Anyway,
You know what
segment
I'd like for us to
and
take
close.
on? A world, a society, an
Mhm.
organization without labels, without rank, serial numbers, right?
Mhm.
And just everyone at the same, like the round table, the Knights
Mhm.
of King Arthur, the round table,
Mhm.
where everyone sitting at the table has an equal voice. What you think our world, our society would look like if we all were to take that approach? I think that's something that we can discuss futuristically.
And before we could do it, before I close, let me clarify this because you got to be careful of these crafty people. Let me clarify this. There's many churches out there is doing a great job and trying hard to do a great job. That's not what this is not to beat the church because we need the church. And so what I'm saying, we're discussing the ills of the church and hope that our discussion help.
Well, basically, by extension, the ills of the society,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
which the church is a part of.
and I want to say shout out. I gotta send shout out to uh all the brothers of the king. And so I got to send a shout out to them because they sent a shout out to me. And I got to send a shout out. And just remember, today is Friday. We want you to have a good weekend. We want to go to church of your choice, and worship the Lord. That's what we talk about. And so I say at this time, it's Mel and Tony under the tree chat. Hope you've been inspired by our conversation today. You meet us here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7:15. And Mel, I want to say, have a good day.
Thank you, Tony.
All right now.